The member for Période South and leader of his party.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Il y a 4 mois, le Conseil de Premier ministre pour les personnes handicapées a publié son plan d'action qui contient 43 recommandations visant à garantir des services fiables, cohérents et exclusifs aux personnes souffrant d'handicap. Personne ne veut voir ce rapport rester sur les tablettes comme tant d'autres. On dit qu'une société peut être jugée par la façon dont elle traite ses membres les plus vulnérables. C'est pourquoi les recommandations dont une loi sur l'accessibilité qui doit être adoptée d'ici la fin de l'année prochaine. Comment le Premier ministre compte-t-il mettre en œuvre les recommandations de son Conseil pour les personnes handicapées?
The Honourable the Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I appreciate the question from the Leader of the Green Party. And there is money. I think $15 million is a part of it for vulnerable populations, and certainly the report that the Leader outlines is one that we need to focus on in the coming months, and I agree, and I look forward to working with the Leader to do just that and set the priorities based on those recommendations, because it's an area that is of concern and interest and a priority for this government. Thank you.
The member for Période South and leader of his party.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and that's good news. The Premier's Council on Disabilities wants to ensure that persons with disabilities have enough income to meet their basic needs and a reasonable standard of living in the community. Income assistance provides way too little money to achieve this. And to make matters worse, Social Development's household income policy can take away that income entirely, as Caitlin Layden in St. John found when she married the love of her life and her income assistance was shut off, leaving her entirely dependent on the modest wages of her new husband. That policy needs to be extinguished, Mr. Speaker, but we can do better, much better, with the establishment of a guaranteed livable income. And if there was a time for the establishment of a guaranteed livable income, it is now, during a pandemic. So will the Premier ask the Standing Committee on Social Policy to make recommendations to this House on the adoption of a guaranteed livable income for low-income New Brunswickers, beginning with persons with disabilities?
The Honourable the Premier.
So, Mr. Speaker, I think that there's challenges in all aspects of you know, what a livable income can be and how money is being spent and where best it can be used, because we're seeing it in every category. I mean, we're seeing certainly in areas of the homeless, in mental health conditions, and we're seeing you know, a rising situation. We're seeing a rising situation in drug addiction, in violent crimes, in weapons-related crimes. So there's a spectrum of how do we ensure that all vulnerable populations are being the priorities are being addressed, and certainly commencing with disability and those with disabilities and how we manage that. I think what has to happen through this process is how do we look at the entire spectrum? What is a livable income? What are the standards that we expect in our province? Because at the end of the day, it is trying to find the right path forward. And as I mentioned about the priorities that was listed in the study, it's let's put all of the cards on the table and let's just figure out together what makes sense so we can get on a long-term sustainable program of improvement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.